But what is interesting to me, that we had, over a dozen of astronauts that went to the moon. But have we actually heard genuine experience of what it is like looking back, apart from the photograph? Have they had the language to communicate the transformation that happened to them? In fact, a lot of them have been ostracized from family, societally, and they had to resort to drinking and being isolated because they could not communicate their experience. And you would not see that because these are strong men. They need to hold their frontier. They are heroes. But nobody prepared them, to be back from the moon. They were put into a bunker, essentially. They couldn't touch their family. They couldn't hug them. Their family was afraid to hug them because they could have been harboring disease or bacteria or foreign life. So, coming back to that reality and kind of being literally behind the glass, that has affected them. Some of them lost their family, so there were divorces. And really, the people who dealt with it in a different capacity is one of them became a priest. One of them obviously started the Noetic Science Institute. And that's the person who really articulated what they were experiencing. But the majority of them went quiet because we just don't have the capacity. So another good example is synesthesia. So until, fairly recently, we're talking about, 30, 40 years, this was, even now, a lot of people don't know about this phenomena. It's when you're having various inputs through your sensory perception, and you have a possibility of experiencing, for example, sound as color, or in this book by an expert in synesthesia, Richard, who says that the man who tasted shapes. So you have the neurons work cross sensors, and you are experiencing the world not like other people. And that could be so seeing things by tasting things. In the modern times in the cities, we just don't need that. So obviously our system biologically is very efficient, so it doesn't want to waste resources. So if we don't use it, we lose it. It gets repurposed. What is also very interesting is that our intention has an effect. So this is a paper, actually I was surprised to find it on the CIA website that's been approved for release. And so the experiment involved a microelectronic random number generator. Under certain circumstances, consciousness interacts with random physical systems. So it actually has an effect on electronic devices, but more so that the later experiments actually looked at that we can affect these instruments in the past. You, I, like all of us, can affect a random number generator to produce either zeros or ones by just thinking, going up for ones and going down for zeros. And you can go to an experimental room, and say that, and the data was already recorded by the random number generator, and you're doing an experiment today, but it was recorded yesterday. Then they'll uncover that recording, and it will correlate with what you were doing. So it will actually generate things in the past. So we can work across time. And you could do exactly the same in the future. Understanding the UAP, there's no such thing that we can remove the human factor. We can't. We are the interacting element with the phenomena. So the intention has to be part of the picture. So I worked with many space agencies, and so what I'm here to say is that pilots have unique cognition, and their situational awareness is unparalleled. But more so, they navigate not like majority of us, which is in a horizontal plane. They operate in a sphere. So if you go and sit in the cockpit, you will not see an airplane that would be slightly out of your horizontal plane, but the pilot would, because they're trained to do so. And more so, they're continuously anticipating problems. So they're watching the trajectory, and it happens in the speed of a second. So they could do this without thinking. It's beyond processing capacity, and what the experiments will tell you in the laboratory is just not what happens in real life. They're much faster than that. They're classifying and discarding unknown objects. They're dynamically problem solving and rapidly making decisions. But more so, because of that expertise, their personal life is affected. So they problem solve all the time, and they do suffer because of that, because they always think of the bad consequences, not positive outcome. And if they're distracted and thinking, should I be seeing this? What should I be doing? Should I be reporting this? Will I be punished for this? So the merit is worth looking in what the phenomena triggers in us. So by other person having experience with the phenomena, it gives me also transformation of the worldview. So the phenomena, although I'm not seeing it, I am affected by it. So we are all one big organism that are being now affected by the phenomena, and we need to take account for that. So how do we tap into that inner universe of the experience? And but I feel like the more we engage, that the more we'll learn about the actual phenomena, and we will explore who we are and what our potential and actually what we are made of. What fears do we have? Because it does bring